I have made this video probably like 3 or 4 times, and I'm finally redoing it again. I made it when it was very fresh, so it was very hard to get out my story. So if you haven't already read from the title, this is going to be my story, my experience. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys my experience from the beginning when I got pregnant, leading up to when I lost my baby. So I can't remember. I think it was September I found out I was pregnant. We were actually wanting another baby and I got pregnant right away. And I started bleeding right away. I had a miscarriage 2 years prior to getting pregnant with this baby, so I was already prepared for having another miscarriage, which sounds really sad and bad, but you know, I was just like, you know what, I'm probably having another miscarriage. Called my OB. She had me come in for, I think it was every 2 days I had to give blood to check my HCG levels. So I did that. So my very first appointment, I was very nervous because my first appointment with the baby I was pregnant with prior to this one was a miscarriage right away though. I lost that baby right away. I was like 8 weeks. My very first appointment, I saw, I lost the baby. She told me you're either going to have a miscarriage naturally or we're going to have to do a D&C. I didn't want to do a D&C. Luckily, I did end up having a miscarriage naturally. So, but that was in my mind. I'm going to go to this ultrasound. And I know everyone's probably thinking, why were you so negative? Don't be so negative. It's not, I don't want to be negative. It's just in my head. I'm just telling you guys what I was thinking in my head. It just popped up. So, she did the ultrasound, and there was a baby. And there was a heartbeat and everything, and I was so excited. Everything was fine. And I was just like, wow, I wonder why I was bleeding. And she's like, you know, it's common, it happens. Everything's fine though. So I was like, thank God. So I'm usually sick the first 3 months of pregnancy with both of my daughters, both of them. I lost 20 pounds with each of them in 3 months though. I lost that 20 pounds within 3 months. Now, they did say every pregnancy that I had, I'm gonna butcher this, and I have like such a hard time remembering words, like remembering how to pronounce them, okay? Hyperemus gravidarum. I know I butchered it, okay? But I have been told every time I'm pregnant I have that. I'm extremely sick, but not as bad as this time. So, let's see. I would say 2 months went by. So it was right after my first appointment. I started feeling sick, and I thought it was so weird that I hadn't been sick yet because I'm always super sick like right away. So I thought, oh no, something's probably wrong because it's not like my body. That's not how I am. So we ended up moving, and while we were moving, we ended up getting helpers because I was sick, but not that sick. I was nauseous, throwing up once in a while, but I was extremely tired, extremely nauseous. And you know that feeling like when you're super sick, but you just can't throw up? It was like that, but I did throw up a couple times a day. We moved into our new home in November, and like I'd say the end of October is when I started coming on more frequently. Well, once we moved into our house at the beginning of November, I was really sick. I was extremely sick, and my doctor was very worried. I lost almost 40 pounds in 1 month, which is crazy. I was miserable, and I was so sick, and I couldn't do anything. And I'm the type, which most of us women are, I'm the type that you know, when we move, I organize everything. I pack everything. I unpack everything the way I want it. And my husband always tries to help, but, you know, it's just like, your touch is always different than his. And, you know, most men, I don't know, maybe your husband's different, but they don't organize or anything. Just, okay, well, this looks, you know, that's a good area for that. And you're just like, no, that doesn't make sense in your head. I just literally let my husband do whatever he wanted. I was that sick. Like, I just didn't care. And my doctor wanted me to be, I forgot what it was called, not a PICC line because I said it wrong last time. She wanted me to have an IV put in me and have fluids going in me 24 hours. She said, and this is what she told me exactly, the baby was fine. He was perfectly healthy. Everything was okay. She was worried about me because anytime I would drink anything, I couldn't eat. Anytime I drank anything, I would just throw it up. We tried to get me in, I think it was the hospital, but because of COVID, there was all these guidelines and stuff, and they wouldn't do it for some reason. So, and that was like an appointment while I was really sick. And then the next appointment I had, when I was 13 weeks, she did another ultrasound and I saw it was a boy. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, is that a penis? And he literally flipped over right when I said that. And she's like, I don't know. I didn't see. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. My phone went off. So after that appointment, I was super sick. Well, Christmas Eve, I'd say like 2 days before Christmas Eve, I got really, like, I felt fine. I was like really worried because going from super sick to feeling fine, I felt like there was something off. And I keep a journal, and I was looking back in my journal like right after the baby passed away, and I read around that time when I started feeling better, I had a dream that I lost him, and then I got pregnant again with a girl, and everything was fine with her. So that really worried me too, that I had that dream. So when was it? Christmas and everything passed. I was still a little sick, but like hardly at all. I went in to the doctor's. January 15th was my appointment, and it was just a routine checkup. I go in there and I tell her, you know, I'm 17 weeks now. Is it weird that I haven't felt the baby kick? And she's like, oh no, honey, you're fine. Don't even worry about it. So I was like, okay, I feel a little off. I haven't been that sick. She said, great. That is amazing. That's amazing that you're able to eat and drink. Don't feel off about that. That's great. And I said, I know, but I just feel like because I'm so much better that there's something wrong. So I wasn't supposed to have an ultrasound this time. I was just supposed to be checking the baby's heart. She did the Doppler thing, like to check the baby's heart. She couldn't find the baby's heart, which she's been my doctor every time, and sometimes she has a hard time, so she'll just have to use the ultrasound. She pulled out the ultrasound machine, and there was the baby, and he wasn't moving, and where the heart, there's like a hole, and in the ultrasounds, those of you who have had babies, you see the heart moving. There was nothing there, and there was no heart rate. There was nothing. And I knew it when I saw the ultrasound, and she just she was like, come on, baby, come on, come on. And I'm just like, I already know, like, he's gone. You know what I mean? It's still hard telling this, but last time I just bawled the whole time, so I'm doing a lot better telling it this time. So anyways, she told me she was sorry, I'm gonna try to just continue on. And then I had to go get another ultrasound done a couple rooms down to confirm that he had passed. I was a mess. I couldn't help it. And I'm one of those people that hate for people to see me cry, even right now. But I just started bawling, and I couldn't help it. So I was walking past all these medical assistants and doctors, bawling like a baby, obviously, you know. And the ultrasound tech, you can tell, she just felt so sorry for me, and she was like, she told me how sorry she was, and I already knew he was a boy from that one ultrasound, but she confirmed, oh yes, his heart stopped, and did you want to know what he was? And I was like, I'm pretty sure he's a boy from his ultrasound at 13 weeks. She's like, yes, he was a boy. I was like, okay. So she said he passed at 15 weeks, and that was literally around Christmas Eve when I started feeling better. So I told my doctor that, and she's like, oh yeah, he's been gone. How long was that? Like three weeks. Yeah, because that was almost 18 weeks when I went in. She told me she was going to induce me, and when I start bleeding a lot, to go to the hospital. So she's stuck. So I had my first daughter, I waited until I went into labor naturally. My second daughter, I was induced, but I can't remember if they put a pill in me or not. I'm pretty sure they did. She's 5 now. For some reason, I can't remember if they put a pill. I don't know if it was an IV or what, but... So she put the pill inside of me and told me... She gave me some other pills, and I think I was supposed to take 2 every hour until I started. And she told me she's on call, so that's why she wanted to induce me then. And then, she said normally she would do a DNC, which I wanted to stay away from. Normally she does a DNC, but because the baby was so big and he was extremely swollen, so she thought it was his heart, the reason why he was so swollen and big. But because of that, they couldn't do a DNC because he was too big. I'd have to deliver him naturally. I'm sure you guys can hear my kids in the background. They're in their room, which is right across the hall. I went home. I had already texted my husband about it. He was devastated. My daughters were really sad. Okay. So, I laid on the couch and I put, like when you give birth, they put those pads on you, like, I didn't know, it's like puppy pads. Well, I had a bunch from when my dog was a puppy still, so I put one under me in case I started bleeding. I was sent the medication through my pharmacy that I'm supposed to take from my doctor. Those other pills, I'm not sure what they're called or what they did. She just said it'll help bring on labor. It would help with the pills she put inside me. So we ended up going to the pharmacy. I didn't have any cramping or anything, or any bleeding or anything. And that was about 2 hours later we went to the pharmacy. We got my girls something to eat, which thank God we did, because you'll find out right now. Because I hadn't eaten yet. And then that was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, I think. So we came home. I had to pee. I went on the toilet, and all of a sudden, all this blood came pouring out of me. So I was like, great. We're going to have to go to the hospital now. So my parents came over. I called them, and they came over. And they came over fast, like 15 minutes. They just rushed over. Luckily, both of them were off of work that day. And they stayed with my daughters at my house. My daughters and my dogs, because I had my dogs I was like freaking out about too. And we went to the hospital. It is so different now because of COVID. They ask you all these questions, and then you have to get a COVID test, and then they do the IV and all that. I had one nurse, and I don't know if it's because my husband told her she was an RN. My husband kind of had this feeling that that's why, but she ended up leaving, and then we had another RN. Well, I think you only have to, I think I only had to dilate to like a, I think it was almost a 5 or I was a 5. But my doctor, they called my doctor, she wasn't answering the phone. I couldn't get a hold of her. And I had this feeling that I had to pee really bad. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait a little bit. I was having contractions, I was just sitting in the bed, and I started getting super uncomfortable. Not like period cramps. You know, like the beginning of contractions are like period cramps. It's always different when you're induced though. Did you notice that? I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed that. It's like stronger. It's a lot stronger. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go pee now. I gotta pee really bad. I go to pee, and they put this, it was like this bucket thing. All you medical field people know what the technical word is. I don't. They didn't even say it. They just said they put this thing here for me in case, you know, the baby comes out. And I went to pee, and the baby just dropped down. So let me just go back real quick. This new nurse was very aggressive when it came to me holding my baby, and she was telling me I need to take pictures with him and I need to hold him. Everybody is different, and I personally did not want to see him. They said he's gonna look, my doctor told me he's gonna look swollen, and you know, he was little, only 15 weeks, but super swollen, and just, I forgot what word she used, but it just, I didn't want to remember him like that. I really, the camera started messing up right now. Hopefully this whole video records, I don't know. So I didn't want to remember him like that. And that's personal to me. I got a lot of, nothing from like my family and friends, but I posted about it on my TikTok, just about how I didn't want to see him like that. And half of the people said they agree and they didn't. And half of the people said they didn't want to give the baby back and they held him the whole time. I didn't want to remember him. I don't know. I would have that image in my head forever, and I wouldn't want that. So he fell into the toilet, or that little bucket thing, and I looked down, and of course he's attached to the umbilical cord, so it looked like he was moving. So I thought he was still alive, and I freaked out, and I screamed to my husband. I was like, he fell out of the toilet, and he's moving. I think he's alive still. And I was just bawling. I couldn't stop. So he's an RN, and he walked out of the room very calmly. He's very calm with all this stuff, obviously. I mean, he found a nurse, told them what was going on, and 4 RNs came in there. They knew I didn't want to see the baby. I did see him because I looked down and I was freaking out, and he was so swollen. They told me, I think they're supposed to be like very, very tiny at 15 weeks. He was very long and very chunky, and my doctor told me it was because the swelling, and that was another indication that it was his heart. That's what she's thinking. So they came in there. They got something to put him in. I don't know, as some container. I just looked up. She cut the umbilical cord, put him in there, and then had me walk to the bed. And she had something under me. I think it was just one of those pads. And see, my camera keeps doing something. I don't know what it's doing. So she had that under me and told me I cannot push out the placenta until my doctor came in. And she was taking forever. It was like 3 hours later after they called her. So I was laying in bed and I was like, but when you have to push, you have to push. And you can't really help yourself. Like, I just said, I have to pee again. And they said, okay, well, we'll get one of those pee things. I don't know what anything's called. I'm sorry. I'm just like mom brain. So they got that, put it under me, and I pushed that placenta out. I didn't care. I was just like, bam, pushed it out real fast. Came right out. No problem. No issues. Thank God, because my doctor came and she said, oh my gosh, I need to make sure isn't leftover placenta in you. So she checked it. Everything was fine. She then told me she was going to go check on the baby. And she left. And she was gone for like 30 minutes, and she came back and she said, oh yeah, honey, he was really swollen. And she said they were going to send him out to get tests done to see if it was like a chromosome issue or something like that. And then the nurse came back and said if we wanted to bury him or cremate him. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. But me and my husband talked about it after, and she came back and we said cremate. We want to cremate him, and I'll show you guys his ashes and everything. I do have part of his ashes in this necklace. It's really, really pretty. And then we have like a picture of his ultrasound and then his ashes, and my daughters put like these little, those little mini brand toys? They put that next to him, all the little boy mini brands, and they talk to him all the time, and my little one likes to hold his ashes, and she's so sweet about it. And so we have him over there with my other daughter's pictures, baby pictures. After I had him, I thought I was going to get to go home, but they said I have to stay overnight. And my husband slept on that little, it's like a couch they had in my room. They didn't transfer me over to the mother baby, obviously, because I didn't have my baby. But I stayed in that room overnight. And there was people coming in and out all night long. I was already exhausted and upset, and then they just kept coming in to see if I wanted sleeping pills and see if I wanted pain pills, and they didn't like push on my stomach or anything, so I was wondering why they kept coming in. It was super annoying. But after that, we went home. Luckily, my husband had just started his vacation, and we had already planned a trip. No, we didn't. We didn't plan the trip. We planned the trip the next day. It was very short notice. We planned a trip to go to the beach. We were gone for 2 nights and 3 days, and it was much needed. It was a little hard for me because, after you have a baby, you just bleed a lot. So, and it was colder, so we didn't go in the water or anything, but it was relaxing, and I think it really helped a lot, us going on that trip. And it helped out my girls too, because obviously they were super upset, just as upset as me and my husband. When we got back, I was really upset. I didn't show it. I was writing it though in my journal every night, crying when my husband would fall asleep. And I started drinking a lot. like a lot. So nobody knew I was drinking a lot and crying, and I would just tell everybody, like before I got pregnant, I have a glass or two of wine, but I started drinking like a lot more of wine. It's always wine, but so me and my husband talked, and we decided we wanted to try one last time. This is gonna be the last time, because I had a miscarriage in 2017, and now I lost a baby in 2021. So I knew I couldn't do that again. So I waited until I got the results back from the baby's results, found out it wasn't like a chromosome issue, and she had no idea. She said his little body's too little to do an actual autopsy on, but that she's like almost 100% sure it was his heart, and it was nothing. I blamed myself thinking it was me being sick. She said it had nothing to do with that. She had patients that were way more sick than me, and they never lost their baby ever. She never had someone that was more sick than me lose their baby. So she told me not to blame myself, and it wasn't from that, so not to worry. And she told me if I wanted to have another baby, that I should, and me and my husband should talk about it, because I said I wanted to get my tubes tied, and I'm glad I changed my mind on that. And so after I stopped bleeding, like the first time I was ovulating, we decided we're gonna have another baby. I got pregnant right away. I freaked out. Like, what I mean freaked out, I mean I got really bad anxiety, and I was just thinking, oh, I hope the same thing that happened last time doesn't happen. So this time she had me get the non-invasive prenatal test through your blood, where they can test the baby and make sure there isn't anything major wrong with the baby. They can also tell you the gender. The reason why I was able to get this was because what happened with the last baby, losing him. I wasn't able to get that test with him. My insurance wouldn't cover it because I had a miscarriage like right away, but it wasn't like losing a late term miscarriage is what they call what happened like when I was 17 weeks. But this time, because I lost the last baby at 17 weeks, they allowed me to have it. And obviously you can get it, but you have to pay like full price. But I didn't even know about that with the other baby. I didn't know anything about that until this baby. So they got the results and everything is good. And I found out it's a boy again. And I was like in shock, because I had that dream while I was pregnant with the last baby that I got pregnant, it was a girl. And I'm telling you, it's so weird. A lot of my dreams come true and it freaks me out. But this one was not 100% accurate. And I'm still like in shock that I'm gonna have another boy, because it's like, you know, my angel baby. So I'm currently at 17 weeks. And that is how far along I was last time. I have my next appointment July 2nd. I am sick. However, I'm not nowhere near any three of my pregnancies. I'm nowhere that sick. With my girls, I lost 20 pounds. With my son, the last baby, I lost 40 altogether in my pregnancy. This one, I think I've lost 5, which isn't a big deal, like 5 pounds. So I haven't felt him kick, and I'm still kind of worried about that. But my doctor keeps saying between 16 to 24 weeks. I just felt my girls move before that, so that's why I'm still just like, I don't know if it's like a baby boy thing or what, but I just can't wait until I feel those kicks, because right now I have a lot of anxiety about it. So I'm just hoping everything goes well this time, and I know that there's a lot of you women who have gone through what I went through, and I didn't even know. I didn't know that there was women that go through these late term miscarriages. I thought once I hit 12 weeks, I was in the clear and everything would be fine. My doctor said while late-term miscarriages aren't common, you can have them up to 24 weeks. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to wait till I'm 24 weeks to not have that anxiety. So yeah, that is my story. And if anybody else went through something similar or wants to talk about their story in the comments, let me know. I would love to read them. And I think it really helps talking about it and talking to especially other women who have been through it. It helps a lot when I go on YouTube and I watch the videos and I'm just like, I'm not alone. There's other women